Hi there. Thank you so much for joining me for some quiet time together. I shared this book when it first arrived as something that I'd like to flip through with you. So I hope you find this peaceful, this lovely coffee table book of the national parks of the United Kingdom. Is full of glorious photos, and it's a celebration of the nation's most beautiful places. And together we'll take this inspirational journey through the parks that capture the spirit of the British landscape. And I hope you find this calming, connecting with so much of nature in the photos might resonate a sense of resetting, connecting, as I say, some peace and calmness. This is your time. There's nowhere else that you need to be. Nobody needs anything of you at the moment. Okay? So just take a deep breath, breathe it out, and relax. National parks, Dartmoor and South Downs in the New Forest, the Lake District, Beatrix Potter. I know the picture colour won't be exactly the same because I enjoy to record in sepia to keep it easy on your eyes, to help relax and sleep. But I hope the warmth of the pictures and the landscapes come through to you. It's quite a muted tone anyway, but with the shape it's beautiful. I'll just do a little bit of talking here and there, okay? Oh, that's beautiful. With the sea, the sand, and the coastline is beautiful. Pink flowers, daisies, it's lovely. Beautiful. Slight glare on the picture there, so I set it up there, but the sun over the horizon. At the moment it's not telling me where these pictures are, but I think we can just appreciate them in this wonderful snowy scene. Beautiful. snow-gripped mountain platypus drive by 170 miles per hour winds and confetti-coloured wildflower meadows fizzling with bees and butterflies. It'd be nice to actually read that at some point. Maybe I'll do that as a good bedtime read. Dartmoor is renowned for almost the ruggedness and then the serenity of the landscapes. I've only been there a few times, and you can spot the Dartmoor horses. St Michael de Rook is thought to be the highest working church in southern England. Look at the way the branches clamber up. It's beautiful, just with the sun catching the stones of the rocks. I mentioned before, the New Forest. The New Forest ponies are often described as the architects of this unique landscape, largely free to roam. Grazing is intrinsic with the character of the New Forest, helping it maintain its distinctive open patchwork of woodland and heath. Almost looks like a foot coming out the bottom of the tree there. In fact, it's fungus growing at the bottom of a veteran oak tree. It targets the old trees. And they're beautiful lilac. So beautiful, with the sun coming through. You can sense the calmness and the beauty all around. The summer dawn over the tree-scattered heathland of rhythm, with ling and bell heathers at their spectacular blooming best. In August, the heaths of the New Forest light up with purple colour. The unsung coastline of the New Forest. And the South Downs, with the gently flowing the South Downs, the contour of those hills. One of the mind-bogglingly ancient yew trees of Kingly Vale, which is believed to to be as much as 2,000 years old. These are some of the oldest living things in Britain. Mist just resting across the bridge. Could almost just be a painting, couldn't it? The way it cascades down. Exmoor. Looking down on Porlock Bay from the moorland of Blossington Hill, this seemingly timeless scene belies a story of change and transformation. Again, warm autumn colours. And there, a huge antlered red deer. And these are Britain's largest wild animal species. And they go especially big on Exmoor. And the Exmoor pony. Exmoor coastline is dotted with secluded sandy coves like Lee Bay. Beautiful. Sweeping down. Openness. Beautiful, typical Exmoor scene of flowering purple heather, farmland, woods and coastline. There's just something, isn't there, about a coastline when you look out to sea. Endless blue water. Oh, that's dramatic. With the Pembrokeshire coast. Out into the turmoil of the White Sands Bay, which is one of Pembrokeshire's best surf beaches. Didn't know that. An Atlantic puffin couple on the seabird refuge of Skowrow Island. Constructed in 1908, the Strumble Head Lighthouse, one of the last lighthouses to be built in the UK, and is perched on a small island just offshore, reachable by a footbridge across the rocky strait. The protected waters around Pembrokeshire are home to around 5,000 grey seals, which often feed in the fish-rich environments of kelp forests. And blue sharks migrate north from their breeding grounds and are often found in Welsh waters. Though usually only found in the deeper seas, some distance from the coast, they can be spotted on the sea safari tours from Pembrokeshire. Spectacular limestone sinkhole near Brandhaven. Wow. Beautiful coastlines again. White Sands Bay near St David's. The waves crashing up onto the shoreline, clinging to the headland of Carmarthen Bay. Small coloured houses, so charming, a marina. 2,000 years ago, before the pyramids. It's got to be almost Bano or Brai Chenoi, I can't pronounce it. Okay, very dramatic. Bluff is the easternmost peak of the long escarpment that runs across the northern edge. And red kites were once an everyday sight on these islands, and even mentioned in the writings of Shakespeare, mistakenly blamed by farmers and gamekeepers for the killing of their animals. The lower fall of the White Meadow is one of the host of waterfalls that tumble through the lush corridor of temperate rainforest in the upper reaches of the Vale of Neath, a popular area known as Waterfall Country. Beautiful. Oh, they have a walk ahead of them. Again, very dramatic with the clouds. Skyline. The all-seeming castle of Carrick-Cannon clings to an outcrop of limestone near the village of Trap, the site of a native Welsh castle that was captured in 1277. That's a very dramatic shot with the mist. Look at it just there, all the fog just clinging to the landscape and the trees, almost calling out for a story. And the Broads. The wetlands are some of the world's most beautiful and biodiverse habitats in Britain's largest protected wetland area. In the Broads, the line between the water and the land is blurred. Broads and rivers, drainage channels and wet woodlands, rough pastures and needy marshes form a complex mosaic. Wow, you can see it there, all around, with the nature. My grandson would like that. Boating along the river. It's charming, but I don't know what these would do with the amount of rain that we have. On the Norfolk Wherry is a traditional type of sailing boat used on the Broads. Oh, and the starlings migrate. Look at them. Nature. Such a wonder. It's also known as Snowdonia, a deeply stored landscape, and it's the highest mountain in Wales and the busiest mountain in Britain. And it attracts more than 500,000 hikers and visitors per year. Coming in. Which castle is that? That's the coastal plain is Harlech Castle, which was constructed under the orders of Edward I during the invasion of Wales in the late 13th century. Now a World Heritage Site, it is one of the most impressive and well-preserved medieval fortresses in Europe. Okay, water. Such beautiful scenery. It just gives you a sense of calmness. You can imagine the sounds if you listen to the water, nature, and the beautiful sunlight that's coming through there. That's enough to fill your soul. Slate all around there. Again, the calmness of the waters, the stillness with the drama. Surprisingly blue skies and not rain. The morning mists drift through the pastures and oakwoods, sandwiched between and flanked by the woods and waterfalls and steep mountainside. Beyond the village of Harlech, the grassy dunes fans out across the coastal plain, forming one of the few actively growing dune systems in Wales. Sandy beach, beautiful, the sand dunes and that coastline, with the drama of the clouds in the sky, which replicates our English weather a little bit more. The Peak District. Looking down from the space on the British landmass at night reveals a ring of brightness that extends north from the heart of England, forming a huge, almost unbroken circle about 240 kilometres long. This lasso of light is home to about 20 million people, a constellation of cities and towns making up the historic heartland of England's industry. The Millstone Grit Rock Formation, known as a salt cellar. Millstone Grit. Spring across the White Peak and cow parsley, red campion and other wildflowers bloom in the meadows surrounding a limestone drystone wall near the village of Yorgrave. This is beautiful. A little path leaking down. That's completely charming. The reservoir. And the fog and the cloud. Inversion fills the floors of the valleys. This bit here with the but archaeologists have put forward various theories, including that it was linked to the nearby Millstone Grit Rock that we saw just a moment ago, formation known as Robin Hood's Stride. 9 stones close, also known as the Grey Ladies, a prehistoric stone circle in the south of the Peak District, thought to date from the early Bronze Age. Again, the mist, the drama, and the beautiful Yorkshire Dales. We have a few programmes now, Yorkshire Fairs and some dramas on television that really do showcase Yorkshire. contours carved out by glaciers. The classic U-shaped valley of the upper Wharfdale is dotted with ash woodlands and dry stone walls. Primrose flowers carpet the ground and ash woodlands. The exquisite lady's slipper orchid was declared nationally extinct in 1917, but 13 years later a single survivor was found in the Yorkshire Dales, and the secret site has been guarded or monitored since, and the plant has been reintroduced to various locations in northern England. And that there, formed by a waterfall that would be higher than Niagara, the echoing crag of Melham Cove is a major natural attraction and a world-class climbing venue. And it's spectacular fields and landscape, and old buildings, and the woodland. The river cascades over a series of limescale steps in Wensleydale. A sequence of 3 waterfalls spread over 2 kilometres. Wow. And the Ribblehead Viaduct is one of the most impressive Victorian artefacts of England's north. With the sun beating down. The North York Moors, and a steam locomotive puffs along the North Yorkshire Moors Railway near Gothland. The line was originally built in 1830s. That's the tallest waterfall in the North York Moors. It's 20 metres high. It tumbles into the steep-sided sandstone ravine lined with lush mixed broadleaf woods. Beautiful, the daffodils there. That's charming. Popular tourist hub, the former fishing village of Sloth nestles picturesquely in the coastal cove enclosing a sheltered harbour. Beautiful. Oh, again with the sun coming down. Beautiful. The richness of the purples and the lilacs. Which brings us on to the Lake District. Early 18th century, passing through what would have become known as the Lake District, Robinson Crusoe's author Daniel Defoe was unimpressed. He described it as a country eminent only for being the wildest, most barren and frightful of any that have passed over England. And the region's hills and mountains, he complained, had kind of hospitable in them, and they were no use or advantage either to man or beast. Classic view of the head of the mountains, giants crowded around it, and the great gable is a cloud-topped mountain in the middle. And it's so many poems and stories been inspired by the Lake District. And none more popular than the pastoral side of the Lake District was of huge importance to another of the region's world-renowned artists, Beatrix Potter, one of my favourites, and the celebrated author and illustrator of innovative pastel-coloured children's stories, most famously The Tale of Peter Rabbit. Spent childhood holidays in Lakeland, and her love of the region's flora and fauna were one of the chief influences of her work, particularly after her midlife move to Hilltop Farm in the village of near Sowery, close to Windermere. Her outwardly quaint but subtly submersive work became a staple in the upbringings of generations of children. That's so true. And in fact, this book and a book I have about Beatrix Potter and everything, I think I'm going to include in a different video with a little roll back. Looking out to the Irish Sea. Oh wow, that's beautiful. Just stunning photos of the Lake District. Look at the serenity there of the water and the line and the drama. These, the walks, and then go over the pool. A stile spanning a dry stone wall on the slopes, looking down the length of Windermere, England's largest lake, from the northern shore. This one, mistress through the winter grip landscape of Langdale, and it certainly does, doesn't it? Completely haunting, completely charming. Northumberland. It's a collision of history and geology. Hadrian's Wall undulates over the top of the craggy escarpments created by the Great Wind Still, an outcrop of volcanic rock which originates date back to 300 million years. Wow, wow, wow. And their national parks have the fewest of Northumberland National Park is sparsely populated. Just 2,000 people live within its boundaries. It's just wonderful when you see the yellows and the greens and the colours. The quiet, tightly winding river valley carves through the sandstone and limestone hills in the south of the Cheviots. Oh, what a beautiful. But that sadly was cut down. It says overleaf, most visible in Arctic latitudes, the electrifying sight of the aurora, the northern lights basically, in the skies above Northumberland is a rare one. But the region's exceptionally low levels of light pollution make for views when it does appear. This image shows the Northern Lights. The location was famously featured in the 1991 movie Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, with Kevin Costner and Morgan Freeman's characters conversing under the tree as they wander across Hadrian's Wall. The sycamore became an icon in the north-east England, but today the heart of the image shown here is missing. Yep, in September 2023, in what authorities describe as an act of vandalism, the tree was felled near its base, causing a widespread outpouring of anger and sadness. Absolutely pointless and reckless and just sad. So what a beautiful moment to capture this picture. Okay, let's move on to Loch Lomond and on the edge of the Scottish Highlands. The lone oak perches on the rock. Isn't that incredible? Snow-tipped. The panorama view of Loch Lomond from the northeast corner, showing its fleet of islands, with the Luss Hills rising above the loch to the left and the Ben Lomond to the right. Just stunning. And the red deer, natural icons of Scotland. A burn tumbled through temperate rainforest near the east bank of Loch Lomond. I apologise if there's a bit extra sound. Somebody switched something on somewhere. But we're nearing the end. Just beautiful. Oh, look at that. That's lovely. Lake Lamont. It's dotted with 22 main islands and a host of smaller islets. I just love these shots where the cloud and the mist. Okay, comes Scotland. Would have resembled the wildest parts of Scandinavia today. Generating forest in the upper reaches of Glen to push high up the mountain slopes. Oh, again a beautiful shot as it sweeps down with the cloud. Reaching 835 metres at its rocky high point. The Larrigu is a mountain pass that cuts through the wild heart, squeezing between the hulking masses. Oh, very dramatic. Mature Scots pine tree surrounded by younger trees on the shores. Britain's only native pine. Beautiful. Oh. Coral Bothy provides sanctuary for walkers and climbers and is maintained by the Mountain Bothies Association. The mountain hare in its winter colours, they were granted protected status in 2020. And opposite, a blizzard envelopes the landscape. It does indeed. Just beautiful. New Forest in South Devon. Next ports. Yeah, that was South Wales. Just nurtures your soul, I think, and does give you a sense of peace, I hope. I hope you found that nurturing, relaxing. And I thank you so much for joining me. Please take care of yourself. Be kind to yourself. and I'll see you again very soon.